Welcome back to Bespoke Addict. I've spent an hour or so to removing the bonnet. It's not a particularly difficult job. There's three bolts on either hinge, and then there's a strap which is actually still attached to the bonnet, which is leaning up against the house here. And this is why I need to remove it. Let's just zoom in. See that the hinge is quite it's gone very rusty, and it's a very heavy, very heavy sort of panel, and it flexes and flexes and flexes, and it cracks right along here. See that? Let's have a look. Can we just get it right? Here we go. I can lift it up. Look. See that's actually cracked along there rather than rusted. Let's just show you the other side, because this one's still intact. Just move the see, look, it's all still intact. But what happens, because it's such an extremely heavy panel, and there's a big metal plate. It's about 4 or 5 mil thick. You can hear it clicking where the bolts are. These bolts are sort of screwed into the plate, so that's very tight. And the panel. Let me just pop the nut down. The bolt. The panel flexes, and it flexes across here. This one seems as if it hasn't started yet, but it flexes and flexes and flexes, and eventually gets a crack in it. Then moisture gets in, and then that's when the rot starts. So we're okay. That side's fine, but this side's a real mess. It's probably been like this for about 20 years, I'd say. Yeah, it would have definitely started. It would have definitely started cracking here, just along there. But of course, it's sort of, with me opening and closing the bonnet. When I bought this car, it did open and close, but you had to sort of fiddle about with it. It wasn't perfect, but I knew the hinge was going, but let traffic by. With me opening and closing, it's been tearing. It's been tearing this open, and the bonnet's just not been fitting. So it's going to be a bit of a devil to sort of pull that right. But what I'll do, I'll trim all the old metal away. I'll make it, before I trim anything, I'll make a paper template, and I'll sort of cut. Yeah, it's easy enough, I'll sort of drill the holes, and I'll cut the whole thing out, and I'll just cut the whole thing out, put a dog leg on it, and I'll completely cut and weld everything, but I'll have to make sure it's a really good fit before I start cutting anything. But the other thing is, I can't, there's a plate behind there. Let me get a bolt. Let me just put a bolt in, and I'll be able to wriggle the plate about a bit. I can't make the mistake of welding. You can see me wriggling the plate, look. What I have to do is pull the plate out of the way, weld one little bit, then pull the plate back and weld it. Just sort of have to keep pulling the plate about, make sure that the plate doesn't get welded in place. That will be an absolute catastrophe. So it is a mess, a bit of a mess, but it's not the end of the world. This along with the sills are the worst parts on the car. So, once I've addressed these, the rest of it should be relatively straightforward welding wise. So I'm going to take my time. I'm unlikely to weld this tonight, but I'll start sort of trimming patterns and paper templates. And I'm definitely not going to cut anything until I've got everything cut just to size. But what a nuisance, eh? What a nuisance. Actually, this side's lying completely flat. Yeah, it's totally flat. That side, it's raised up slightly, but it's not supposed to be. It looks like it's got a pressing in it, but it's actually supposed to be flush and flat. So I'll cut all that out, and obviously with it being bent about and crushed, the plate's been moved and it's distorted. So it's definitely supposed to be flat, just like this, from completely flat. But I'll film some of it, but the filming does sort of make the process a lot slower. But I'll make some paper templates, and I'll cut a piece of mild steel, drill the holes before I cut anything out. So but now obviously the car is a bit vulnerable, but I do have a cover. So obviously if we pop the put the cover down, cover the bloody thing over, with a cover on, it's not going to look too bad. I don't think it'll be. Obviously without the cover, my goodness me, it's vulnerable, very vulnerable. And I'll put a load of cardboard inside to sort of protect the cover from the engine and make it look roughly, to the casual glance, make it look roughly the right shape. Because I'm not going to be putting the bonnet back on tonight. I'll bring the bonnet indoors. So it really is far from ideal, but I don't have any alternatives, I'm afraid.